It's now just 1 week to go until the World Championship. I'm getting excited about it. I don't know about you guys, but it of course means we've got to go over the usual videos I do before every major tournament. So today we're going to be looking at the prize money, and then next week will be my predictions. Obviously, the Worlds is the hardest one to predict, so they should be fun. But of course, today we're going to be looking at the prize money and to see who's defending what, who could go where in the rankings and stuff like that. And of course, this video is going to be a little bit different than normal because, for the first time in a long time, every single player in the tournament can make profit. And what I mean by that is, so of course Luke Humphries was the winner 2 years ago, which of course means he is defending £500,000, but he not only can make that back, he can make more if he goes on and wins it again this year, which is just incredible. And where people could end up, it's completely random where people could end up really, because I mean theoretically, if you win, you're probably going to be world number 2, because unfortunately Luke Littler is that far ahead of everybody else. Only Luke Humphries can be world number 1 again after this tournament. So that's so like Connor Scott, for example, he could, if he wins the tournament, he could end up being world number 2 or something like that. It's mental, but yeah, it's crazy. But obviously we're going to be looking at what players are defending what, you know, maybe certain like worst case scenarios for each player should they have an early exit, stuff like that. I'm only going to be really going over the players where there's actually quite a few things on the line, or like some of the biggest drop-offs in the rankings. So without further ado, let's get in this video. So we're going to be looking at the players who were defending money from 2 years ago. So these are players who finished either round 3 or better in 2024. So Rob Cross as well, he's lost a lot of prize money already from the Grand Slam. He was finalist 2 years ago, he then lost that money, and he's got quite a lot to defend here as well. Obviously, he's semi-finalist 2 years ago, £100,000 to defend. He's already now world number 17, Rob Cross. He's outside the top 16 for the first time in a long time. And honestly, if he loses all his money, he could end up just like being worst case, being world number 25 or worse. You know, so Rob Cross, he really is hanging on now into our top 32. And if he was to have a poor World Championship, it could be the start of the end for Rob Cross, which is crazy considering the fact he was world number 4 at the start of the year, and now he could now just be barely in the top 32. It's really, really crazy. There's all the other losing semi-finalists, and also a good friend of Rob Cross, Scott Williams as well. Semi-finalist 2 years ago, went on an unbelievable run, which any other year probably would have been more notable, more televised. But because Luke Littler obviously had his breakthrough tournament, obviously no one's mentioning Scott Williams, and the fact that a bloke who was I think it's like one on like number 53 at the time, made it all the way to the semi-final after beating like likes of Van Gerwen, Damon Hedder, Martin Schindler. Like, yeah, he had a crazy run, and literally nobody spoke about it. At the time it was mental. Currently won number 36, and again, should he have an early exit at this Worlds, he could end up being as far down as one number 46. So for someone who, I'll be honest, we all thought would be knocking on the door off the top 32, could now be just hanging on to a place in the top 50, you know. And unfortunately for Scott Williams, hasn't quite kicked on for him since that World Championship. But obviously we all know he's much more of a stage player than a floor player. But of course, obviously he hasn't been doing well on the floor, which means he hasn't been able to then go on to the big stages. So yeah, Scott Williams, got a lot of money to defend this year. He's got to have a good run to keep up with all that. Brendan Dolan as well, similar story. Obviously he was literally in the top 32 start of the year. He's now one number 39 again. Quarter finalist 2 years ago, 50 grand. Again, could be one number 45. Like, he could be having a big drop off as well. Like, it's just, Brendan Dolan's always been in the top 32. He's always been in there. He's always been in around there. He's always been at tournaments. But obviously, this year was the first year where he started to miss out on all these majors. And yeah, now I think he is starting to hang on into the top 50. You know, it's absolutely crazy. As well, Michael Smith obviously was the reigning champion 2 years ago. Obviously, he got a last 16 exit to Chris Dobie, 4-0 whitewash. Again, obviously, had a brilliant Grand Slam, made the quarterfinals, but he's still won number 28. And again, if he has an early exit, he could be one number 34. So that means he's now outside the top 32, which means he could end up again start plummeting down the rankings as well. Similarly, Johnny Clayton as well. He again round 4 a couple of years ago. He's currently one number 5. However, in his case, it's a bit more different because obviously there's Premier League spots on the line as well for this tournament, which I think it's going to be, obviously it always comes down to the Worlds, but I think this is going to be the one tournament where it really does matter how people do get on. I think ranking is going to play a big part this year more than ever, I think. And Johnny Clayton as well, you know, we're going to talk about Stephen Bunton in a minute, but, you know, if Johnny Clayton can not only defend his money here and then make more, he could be one number 4, Johnny Clayton, you know. But yeah, again, worst case scenario, it could be one number 8, which might still be okay. But again, he's gonna have go on a deep run here to get that Premier League spot. As well, Stephen Bunting as well. So obviously, again, round 4, extra a couple of years ago. Again, he also lost heavily to Van Gerwen. I think with Bunting more than anybody, this is a big tournament for him because obviously he is currently one number 4, which then of course means guaranteed Premier League spot. And again, if he drops out of that top 4, there's no guarantee he's gonna be in the lineup next year. I really don't think he would be if he wasn't in the top 4. So again, he's got to not only defend his money here and then get some more. Which I mean, when you look at some of the players behind him who are also in contention, who haven't got anything to defend, for Clayton and Bunting, it could be a really tough one. It really could be, you know. Joe Cullen as well, is that he's clinging on to the top 32. He's now one number 32, Joe Cullen. Again, somebody round 4 exit a couple of years ago, losing that thriller to Luke Humphries. I mean, Joe Cullen, he only ever loses thrillers at Ali Pali. He never actually gets beaten convincingly, you know. But again, if he doesn't do well, he could drop to one number 36. Joe Cullen could be top plummet down the rankings as well. You know, a lot of players who, you know, we always associate them being up in the top 16 or top 32 are just going to start plummeting down, man. Like, we are literally going to see a lot of big changes after this tournament. You know, there's a lot of players who are losing big money here. And of course, you know, we do have a couple of players who have 2 calls online as well. You know, Jim Williams and Florian Hempel, 2 players who failed to qualify for this tournament. And of course, that now means that neither will be able to keep hold of the 2 card and will have to go back to Q School to get it back. However, in Jim Williams' case, I don't think that he's going to go to Q School. I think he's going to focus more on his business that he's got running as well. But for Florian Hempel, who, again, he's always a name who you always know he's going to be Ali Pali, you know, whatever way, he's always going to be there. But he's failed to qualify this year. I think he's a high-ranked player to not qualify this year, which is insane. I mean, he's currently one number 56, of course. That means that he's going to lose his 25 grand he got from 2 years ago. And then he's going to be one number 68. He's going to be outside the top 64. He's going to lose his 2 card. And to be fair, with the way he's been playing this year, there's no guarantee he's going to get it back either. You know, he's got a tough, you know, like, darts out in Germany and Europe. It's getting tougher and tougher every year. He could have a big battle there. As well, Matt Campbell as well. He's currently in a big battle. He's got a lot to defend to try and keep his 2 card as well. Needs a good run. I think he needs another good run to round 3 just to make sure, you know. Again, he's currently one number 59, and yeah, he's got a little bit of leg room, I suppose, with likes of Rob Owen, Mario Van den Borgard as well, Dom Taylor, players like that who have down there, but they've got less to defend or aren't going to be there. So he's got a little bit of leg room, Matt Campbell, but still better be safe than sorry. And as well, you got Richard Vainshire and Jeffrey DeGraff as well, 2 players who are currently in the top 50, but as well, early exits means that they could both plummet down towards that 60th spot as well. So 2 players who, again, if they don't do well this year, could be a difficult year next year for them if they're going to keep hold of the 2 cards. So now moving on to players who are defending absolutely nothing. So these guys were all round 2 exits last 2 years ago, which then means that they've already got 15 grand from that tournament, which means they've got absolutely nothing to defend. However, there is no guarantee that they're actually going to make any profit either. So again, I'm just going to go for the key players. And again, Thibaut Jacol as well, currently one number 61. He's got his 2 cards to defend. Again, similar to Matt Campbell, he's in a good position where he's got a little bit of leg room. So even if he was to have an early exit, it might not affect him too much. Then you got like Steve Lennon, Jose De Salza as well. Both players are outside the top 70, who are going to both need deep runs in order to actually regain the 2 cards. I mean, the fact that Jose's even here in the first place is an absolute miracle because he didn't qualify last year, and it was looking like as though he just wasn't going to get it. But he's done it now. He's qualified Jose De Salza, so he's got a big name. You know, he's a fan favourite. So hopefully for his sake, he can go on a good run to keep his 2 card, which is just crazy to say. Similar with Steve Lennon as well. James Wade as well, currently one number 7, lost in the second round 2 years ago, which means he's got nothing to defend, which in terms of the race for the top 4 is going to be vital, considering the fact that both Clayton and Bunting have both got 35 grand to defend each. So again, if Wade was going a good run here, he could remake ground on that top 4, and again, that hopefully for him means he then gets that Premier League place. Similarly as well, Danny Noppert and Josh Rock as well, they're both currently one number 6, one number 11 each in that regard. Again, both players are now also in the competition for the Premier League as well. They're both, you know, again, nothing to defend. They could both go on deep runs as well. You know, to really not only push towards the top 4, but as well get that spot. Nathan Aspinall as well. Now that he'd made the final, at Minehead a couple of weeks ago. He's now back in the top 16, and of course now means he's probably going to be back in the Premier League talk as well. Again, he's got nothing to defend as well, so he could then maybe make moves back up towards the top 10. And who knows, that might be enough for him to get back in the Premier League. Who knows? As well, Keane Barry and Kim Hybex as well, two players who are currently hanging around the mid-50s right now. They're both defending nothing, so of course it means they can, start moving back up the rankings as well. They can then get away from really having to look up behind the shoulders. Again, if these two both have poor World Championships as well, I believe they were both first round exits last year. So if they can both have, get a win, maybe even two, get back up into the top 50, it could again mean that them two can breathe a little bit more going into next year. So again, literally, I think most of these ones are going to be either tour cards things or Premier League stuff like that. You know what I mean? And now, of course, we're not going on to players who are guaranteed to be making profit because they either lost in the first round 2 years ago or didn't qualify. So I think we'll start off with the players who were they played 2 years ago. Jan van Veen, the big one here, up to currently one number 10. These ranking changes means he's guaranteed now to be one number 9, provisionally going into a tournament. Again, talking about the players who are defending nothing, whereas Van Veen is actually making money already. And again, Bunny and Clayton, they're both going to be looking over their shoulders. They really, really are. Because Van Veen is going to be again. Van Veen, he the winner at Ali Pali, which is a crazy start. But again, he could really make some moves. Going into this tournament, and again with Premier League spots on the line, he could really make a name for himself. Owen Bates as well, 2-card holder as well. He's going to be one number 81, so it's probably unlikely he's going to regain his 2-card. But again, if he goes on a run like Rob Owen did last year, and like the last 16 quarterfinals, he could. Who knows? But I mean, I think for Owen Bates, I think it's too little, too late now. I think, unfortunately. As well, I mentioned before, Mario van den Begaard as well. He's currently one number 66, but he's guaranteed to be one number 64 going into the tournament. So again, if he just wins like 1 or 2 games, he could be good, just because of the amount of players who are, 1, defending money, and 2, who've already lost the 2 cards. I think Mario could be okay. And of course, the players who didn't qualify 2 years ago, who either weren't 2-card holders at the time or just didn't qualify. Meta Sojovic didn't qualify 2 years ago, which is, I think, people forget sometimes. Again, he's one number 60 of Sojovic, but he's still got the battle with his 2-card as well. Again, he's guaranteed to be at least one number 57 going into this tournament. So again, he could stay clear of that little threshold there. And again, loads of players. Lucas Venig as well. The Grand Slam run may have to save his career right now. He's currently is one number 64, but because I think he could be one number 61 at least, so he could be well up there. As well, Andy Bartons, who's currently one number 78, he's gonna need a big run as well to keep his 2-card as well. James Hurrell currently in the top 64 again. He probably should be fine. I think again, similar to Cole and Campbell, he's got a little bit of leg room where he can, since he is already guaranteed to be making money, he might be okay. Stephen Burton as well came into the qualifiers, a massive win for him. The qualifiers, because again, if he hadn't come through, he would have lost his 2-card. So again, he's battling to keep his 2-card as well. I believe provisionally he's world 65. I think provisionally, so again, he probably needs a couple of wins just to guarantee it. As well, Chris Landman as well, world 71, needs a couple of wins to guarantee it himself. Dom Taylor, I think again he probably should be okay. I think Dom Taylor, again, he's not making anything. He could be okay. Matty Denon, Darren Berridge, 2 players. I think it might just be too little, too late for them 2 guys as well. But again, big money coming up. And then Nick Kenny as well. I mean, to be fair, Nick Kenny, I think he'll be okay. I think similar to Barry and Hybex, he'll be looking over his shoulder a little bit. That might help him out as well. And finally, Ryan Meikle as well. I think he's currently one number 62. So if he can, win a game, that'll push him up into the mid-50s. So again, he should be okay. But it wouldn't help to be nice and safe. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. So hopefully you guys found that somewhat interesting a little bit. I did ramble on a bit throughout the video, but hopefully you guys managed to grasp what I was trying to say anyway. So yeah, that's it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you all next time.